Hello all and welcome to video classes by Konnur Institutes. Now in this class we will discuss modes of data collection. In the previous class we have discussed how do we collect the data, right? So wherein we have discussed how the instrument needs to be prepared, right? The questionnaire needs to be prepared, and what are those points which needs to be kept in our mind while preparing the questionnaire, right? So I hope you have understood those all points wherein those that set is very important from the exam point of view. So now we'll understand what are the modes of data collection. See, there are different kinds of modes wherein we collect the data. For example, for you they have given only three basic ways wherein we collect the data. So first is the personal interview, second is the mailing interview, and third is the telephonic interview. So when we are talking about the personal interview is done wherein the respondent and the interviewer. So respondent is the person who is giving the answer to the questions, okay? Interviewer is the person who is asking the question, or you can say he is the one who wants answers or who is collecting the data for his project. So that's the person, we call him as the interviewer. So in the personal interview, what happens? The respondent and the interviewer will be face to face. So interviewer will ask a question to the respondent and respondent will answer to the questions which the interviewer has asked. So this kind of discussion we call it as the personal interview, wherein one-on-one talk is going on. So what happens when you conduct this personal interview? See, everything has its own advantages and disadvantages, right? So here also in the personal interview, it also has its merits and the demerits. First we'll look into merits and then we'll look into the demerits, right? So what are the merits of the personal interview? Personal interview merits are we can exchange the ideas and the interviewer can elaborate more on the question, or he can elaborate more on what kind of project he is carrying out. So that becomes very helpful for the respondent to understand what the interviewer is looking for. So that's the first merit wherein the personal interview has. Second is that when a respondent is when respondent is confused with the question, then the interviewer will be in that, he will also be present there wherein he can assist that question, assist that respondent with all those whatever he has come up with the difficulties. So he can give solutions to that, or he can make respondent to understand what the question might ask or for what reason the question is asked for. So that's the another advantage of the personal interview, wherein he can clarify the query of the respondent. Next is that the respondent's reactions, okay? So even there will be a body language, okay, which is also a part of a data when an interview also gets to look at it directly of the respondent. So that becomes the supplementary data for the interviewer. So he will be observing each and everybody's body language or each and everybody's reaction when they will be facing those questions. So that becomes the another advantage wherein the respondent's reaction will be captured by the interview, which is again the supplementary data for his project. So these are the merits of the personal interview. Then what are the demerits? Demerits is that the respondent might not feel very comfortable in front of the interviewer because he may not have that freedom to express. Because even he might think that if I express, what the interviewer might think, right? So that's another demerit wherein he will not give as a free expression of or the questions. Second is that the interviewer might also influence indirectly to the respondent while giving the answers. and it is quite expensive when you are conducting the personal interview, because you have to look after the costs which are incurred while you are conducting an personal interview. For example, if you are conducting any of the personal interviews, then you have to accommodate all those candidates at one place, and then you have to interview one by one, right? It takes a lot of time, so that's a time consuming thing. And then when you have called so many candidates for the personal interview, you have also look after for their food also. So those are the cost incurring things wherein personal interview has. So these are the demerits of the personal interview. Next we'll discuss about the mailing questionnaire. Mailing questionnaire, here also we are conducting the interview, but how are we conducting the interview is through mailing, by mailing the questionnaire to the respondent via emails, right? So what happens when there are certain people who will not be very free or who will be always busy with their work? So those kind of people can take these kind of interviews or these kind of questions whenever they are free. So that's the reason mailing of questionnaire is made for. So that gives them the time space wherein they can take it. So that's the one advantage. Second advantage is that there will be no pressure of answering you for the question. Okay, if I ask you a question right now, then it will be a pressurizing situation for you to answer it back, right? So but here in the mailing questionnaire, this will not be there. You can take your time and then you can answer. So these are the advantages of mailing the questionnaire. And another advantage is that when the respondent cannot be available at the place where the interviewer wants him to, then what you can do is, instead of you calling the respondent at your place, what you can do is you can just send him or you can just mail him the questionnaire, so that that questionnaire will be accessed for him in the remote place too. Okay, so he can open it at his space time, or he can use whenever he is free, and then he can give all the answers for that questionnaire. So that's the another advantage of the mailing questionnaire. Then what are its demerits? Demerits is that he may not have opened his email and checked for that questionnaire. So that's the first demerit. And second demerit is that due to the network issues or a network problem, the questionnaire which has been sent may not be loaded entirely. So he might have skipped one or the other two questions. Okay, so that's the another demerit. And another the third demerit, what we can say is, there if he is experiencing any of the difficulty to understand a question, then there will be nobody for him to suggest, or there will be no one to assist for that confusion or that difficulty what he is facing. So he might skip that question and then he can go for the next question. So these kind of problems might not lead to the entire exact information what the interviewer is looking for. So that's the another demerit wherein we can see for the mailing of the questionnaire. Next, talking about the telephonic interview. So telephonic interview is the interview which is conducted over telephone calls. Okay, so when people are busy and we cannot ask them to come to the place where we are conducting the interview, and personal interview takes a lot of time, right? So in this case, what the interviewer can do is he can conduct this interview over a telephone call. So that becomes very easy. And if you compare telephonic interview with the personal interview, the cost which is incurred while conducting the personal interview is quite lesser when you are comparing it with the telephonic interview, because you don't have to gather all the respondent at one place, right? So you are just calling them over a call, over a phone, and then you are asking these questionnaire, and then the respondent will be answering answering, and those answers will be recorded or they noted down. So that's the reason it is very easy or very convenient for the respondent to take these kind of questionnaire. Second is that you can easily access to the people over the telephone. So you nowadays the telephonic communication have become a very major part in everybody's life. Then it's easy for us to contact everyone very easily through the phone. So that's the another advantage. Second advantage is that there will be no pressure and the respondent will not be knowing who is the interviewer. So he can give his expressions, he can give his ideas of the questions freely. So there will be no pressure of the interviewer on the respondent. So this is another advantage of the telephonic interview. Coming to the demerits of this telephonic interview, there will be network problem wherein the interviewer will be asking question and the respondent will not be heard that question clearly. He might have due to the network problem, what might have happened is he might have just heard the first part of the question and the main question which has in the middle part have not been heard by the respondent, and directly he has heard the last part. Then he will be in the dilemma what needs to be given answer for these kind of questions. So this is the demerit wherein the telephonic interview will be facing, because he will not have a clear information about what kind of question the interviewer is asking. And the respondent who have taken the call might not be interested to give a question or to take a survey of these kind of questionnaire. Then what he might do? He might just keep that phone call online, okay, or he might just hand it to somebody who is free. These kind of things will be happening when there will be a telephonic interview. So these are the demerits wherein we look when we are conducting the telephonic interview. And the last kind of survey is the pilot survey. So what is this pilot survey? Pilot survey is conducted when the set of questionnaire is prepared, okay, and you want to test those questionnaire with the small amount or small group of people, so that you want to record all the expressions, all the dilemma what the respondents might are facing when they are taking this survey. So understanding those, or from seeing that kind of survey, what you are doing here is you are changing certain questions based on the difficulty level which the respondent might have faced. So that's the pilot survey wherein the questionnaire is already set and you are testing that questionnaire with a very small group of people. So that's all about the pilot survey. In the next class, we will discuss more on the sample survey and look what this sample survey looks like. See you all in the next video class.